Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Attorney. My name is Blair Clark, and I am here with the wonderful, the awesome,
Oh,
the fabulous David Sobel. David, how are you doing tonight?
I just come on Zoom just to hear those accolades. Thank you
Just
so
for the
much.
accolades. That's right.
Love it. Yeah. All right,
Well,
let's go.
every week, David and I get together and we take the questions that folks write into his office. His clerks put them together for us, and then we do a Q&A interview. I ask the questions that you are actually asking David's office, and David supplies the answers. So before we get rolling with these questions tonight, David, just give
Yeah.
our audience a quick reference. How can they look you up if they need any sort of real estate law information from you?
Well, in Michigan, you can just type in Sobel, David Sobel, or Sobel Law or Proven Resource into the URL, and my office should pop up. We do pretty much only real estate and finance related issues. You can also go to provenresource.com. You can type in Sobel Law Firm, and it will take you to our site. And you can also call us at 888-789-1715, which is it should be at the bottom of the screen, but it doesn't show up on Zoom, I guess. But long and short of it is that's the best way. Or you can go to YouTube and just put in
Mm-hmm.
my name, and all the videos that you and I have done over the past year, and quite a few videos from other sources that we've done are located on there as well.
Right. So you are probably watching this on YouTube, you as in the viewer. But if you are not, if you're watching it elsewhere, definitely, like David just said, go to YouTube and just in the search bar, just search David Sobel or Sobel Law, proven resource, and you'll see all sorts of gems like the gem you are about to view this evening. David's office has been getting a lot of FSBO questions. So if
Tons
you've
of physical.
heard that buzzword, that phrase, that's an acronym, FSBO, for sale by owner. So the market is hot. At the time of this recording, it is a year-ish, at least in Michigan time, into COVID, and the supply for homes is very low, so therefore the demand is very high, and homes are selling at prices that are pretty staggering. So
Historic highs.
historic
Historic.
highs. So
Mhm.
we do have some people out there who are trying to dabble in the home sale process themselves. So that's the for sale by owner process. And they have questions for David. So if you are a homeowner, property owner, and you've been thinking about selling a property, you don't necessarily want to go through a realtor, you'd like to take a stab at it yourself, then stick with us, because the questions that we're going to be asking this evening are from real people out there who are asking these questions to David and to the staff at his office at Sobel Law. So we have 4 questions that we are going to ask tonight. The first 4 questions are regarding purchase agreements, closing statements, real estate deeds, and bill of sale.
Hmm.
So the very first question we're going to tackle tonight is regarding purchase agreements. So this particular scenario is from a couple who is selling their house by themselves, not represented by a licensed realtor agent. So the first question that they have regarding purchase agreements is, should a purchase agreement be drafted prior to listing the property? And is this something that we could have assistance with?
Well, I mean, first of all, if they're talking about a FSBO, you're not really listing your property with any realtor. A listing agreement is
Mm-hmm.
between the home seller and the real estate agent who lists the property on the MLS. So that would not be the correct language to use. If you're doing it for sale by owner, you're not technically listing the property. Now, there are services out there right now that help, sellers sell homes on their own. There's Help You Sell, there's Redfin, there's a whole bunch of companies that do this now. They take like a small percentage, and you do have you do fill something out. It's like a listing ticket that will
Okay.
get your information on the MLS, but you don't necessarily need a realtor for that. But with regards to filling out, the more important question is, why would you fill out a purchase agreement before you sell the house or before you even show the home? As the seller, you're not going to be providing a purchase offer. You're going to be receiving a purchase
Mhm.
offer. So the buyer of the home is the one who usually brings the purchase offer. Now you might say to the buyer, because again, you're in control of this transaction, you are the seller selling without a realtor, you may say, hold off, I'm only accepting offers that come in using my form, right? So the
Okay.
seller can say, well, I only want to use this form if I'm going to take an offer. Um, Actually, Blair, normally when people come and they're not using a realtor, we will create the purchase agreement. The attorneys will create the purchase agreement for both parties. We represent only usually the seller, however, and then we tell the buyer they can go and have their attorney look at it. But we'll take the terms of whatever that offer is, and we'll incorporate it into the purchase agreement. Okay, but
Mhm.
you're not going to complete it upfront. Very rarely do you complete a purchase agreement up front unless you're very committed to saying, hey, what other offers come in? Any offers have to come in on this document. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's a good
So
question.
it is a good question because so for those David knows this
Yeah.
obviously, but for those who are watching, my husband and I are real estate investors, and I used to teach elementary school. And so prior to investing in real estate, we had only purchased one home, which was the home that we lived in at the time, and had no idea how the mechanics of any of it worked. We used a realtor, and literally whatever she told us to do
Right.
is what we did. And we showed up when we needed to, and we signed what they had for us at the title company.
Right.
So that is a good question. Should the purchase agreement be drafted prior to? Well, if you are the seller, that's not necessarily your responsibility. Now, what if, let's say, this person is selling the home and then a buyer comes also unrepresented
Mm-hmm.
by an agent? Like you mentioned, you would only represent one side, one party,
Right.
obviously. But have you ever had a scenario where for sale by owner and then just buyer all on their own, not being represented, they
Yeah.
kind of reach like a verbal agreement, and
Yeah.
then you draft something from
Yeah.
there?
That happens all the time.
Hmm.
But we basically, we can't represent both parties.
Right.
Okay. Be a conflict of interest. And it's not one of those things like, you can have the conflict waived, but meaning you could have both parties say, yeah, we'll want both, we want you to do it, but we will represent the seller. Whoever actually has hired us initially,
Sure.
that's who we represent. But yeah, they call us and they go, oh, we're going to accept an offer for this. These are the terms. This is when we're closing. And we really, I've done hundreds and hundreds, thousands of purchase agreements, okay, over
Hmm.
my career. And I don't expect somebody who's selling a home for sale by owner to know all the important provisions that come in a purchase offer, okay? So I put in what I know works and to protect my client. And so half the time, all I want to know are the monetary terms, right, from the seller or the buyer. And I also want to know, like, what's your anticipated close date? What's
Sure.
your time frame? That's all really important. But when it comes down to all these other provisions, such as marketable title, which title company you're going to use, how long for the inspection, I change these over and over again because everybody has a different goal. You may have a contingency with a client or a seller or buyer who needs to do certain things before they can move into the home. So we have to accommodate that. I just finished one for sale by owner between my client were the buyers and they were the investors, and they were getting assignments of the leases, right?
Hmm.
Of the investment property. It was a triplex, and the issue there was, they did use a realtor who did not talk about anything related to the assignment initially. And then when I get it, again, my clients are the buyer. I'm like, no, you have to have an assignment. We also have to have representations from the seller that they've not changed or modified any leases. We want leases. So, that's kind of what I come in to do, is really help people focus on, they're going to get the property. They don't know all the terms. They don't know all the mechanics. That's my job, okay, to protect them. They just want to know, how much money do I need to bring to the closing table? That's really, in the end, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I do want to make one quick aside, as we all, I normally do, I apologize. But, you know, I realize now that this seller is also asking, like, what documents do I have to have prepared before I list or I sell the property? I
Right.
tell you what, the document that, you know, he's probably thinking of is the home seller disclosure statement. That's
Okay.
something before you put the home up on the market, you want to go through. It's a state form. Every state has a different form, and there are different exemptions on when you can use it, when you shouldn't use it, or, you know, uh, what your obligations are. But with that form, that home seller disclosure form under Michigan law needs to be completed at the time that there's an offer that comes in. So you disclose the information to the purchaser. So
Mhm.
yeah, you can have that done in advance. There's nothing wrong with that.
Would
We have,
they receive that form from you? Is
yeah.
there a website where they can just click a link and print it off?
Ooh. Well, it's good that you asked that. As of, I think it's Monday of next week, we have our form program, you know, our DIY forms is
Mm-hmm.
all active. It took a little bit longer. It's
Yeah.
but all of our, there's so many real estate forms and finance forms that you can see now on our website under DIY.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually provenresource.com/DIY. You can go there and there's a whole host of forms. Every real estate document that you can think of that you have used or thought of using or wanted to try out, you can do that with these forms. They're all approved by our office. And the reason why it took a little bit longer, we were a little short on staff to make sure that everything is, you know, legal and that people are
Yes.
protected when they use it. So
Well,
pretty cool.
that's fantastic. Well, there you go, folks. That answers my question. Just go to provenresource.com. David's been talking about this DIY program, and maybe at the end of the segment you can go into a little greater detail, because it's going to be a very valuable and affordable resource for folks. But yes, so prior to listing, and I think they're just throwing, I mean, I'm speculating, but throwing listing out there is just kind of like a general term of
Right.
when we are finally ready to say this house is ready to go for sale.